Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be going through marketing skills and giving you a flavor of what a marketing career would be like and what sort of tools you need to show to your potential employees that you can do the job. Basic introduction: who am I? What is marketing? How I got into marketing? Which marketing skills are important? And in all, I'll try and put this webinar in a case of showcasing why marketing is a great career option, and if you've got the skills, go for it. Who am I? I'm basically the founder and director of Bright Marketing Ideas Group. I'm based in Liverpool. I've worked in marketing for nearly 2 decades. I've worked in companies like IBM, Trinity Mirror, and lots of pharmaceutical industries. I'm a chartered marketeer, and I've also been to 6 universities, so you could say I'm a bit institutionalized. The reason why I'm here today is I'm also the vice chair of the Chartered Institute of Marketing in the Northwest. I'm basically here to inspire the next generation of marketeers and also give the confidence that the students have to say, you know what, it's not a scary career option. It's quite straightforward if you apply the principles that you have learned. Also, I've noticed there's a lot of questions coming through. What I'll try and do is at the end of the session, I'll try and go through the questions and hopefully answer them. And if there are any other issues you would like to ask, feel free to email them to Laura, who will forward it on to myself. Okay, what is marketing? CIM has a definition, which is the management process responsible for identifying, anticipating, and satisfying customer requirements profitably. Basically, it's trying to find out what the customer needs and then work out, have we got something that the customer needs that they want from us, and more importantly, how are we going to send that information out there so the customer knows about our products. Marketing started off being a sort of consumer behavior subject, where companies used to look at the psychology, why people used to buy the goods and services. So it was a case of understanding the needs and wants of consumers, and also trying to find out why people do certain things or buy certain items. And it's more to do with their ego needs and social validation. And the thing that businesses like is to be liked by customers themselves, and marketing is one of those departments that tries to make those companies look and feel at a positive light. How did I get into marketing myself? Basically, there is no secret formula, but one thing is for sure is hard work does pay off. The way I've managed to be where I am is to put in the hours, and the thing is, people realize if you do a good job, and the more you do, the more hours you put in and the quality of work you produce, you will tend to get referred by other colleagues, and those references are goldmine, because people, if they've got a network and someone from that network recommends you, then you are already a step ahead of anyone else who are, when they are looking for a marketing person. Also, know what area you're good at. Try and get work experience, get internship, get some experience to see if it's for you. Sometimes what most people happen is once they graduate, they just apply for hundreds and thousands of jobs, and they will just jump at the opportunity whenever the first company gives them the say so to say, would you like to accept this job? So I would say, go and see what makes you happy, and also see what you really excel at. And the only way you can do it is actually trying it out and actually, you know, testing the workplace. Also, be competitive. It's a very competitive world out there. You know yourself, there are thousands and thousands of marketing graduates, but there's also another 10 or 20,000 extra other graduates from other disciplines who are also thinking about going into marketing. So you need to really question and think about, okay, what makes me stand out from those other 10,000 people? It could mean that you will try and create your own brand online, you know, create some YouTube videos, actually express yourself, because sometimes it's that personality, your drive and ambition and passion that attracts other people towards you. Other things that I used was I used my connections. You know, CIM, I was a member of the Chartered Institute of Marketing. So I went to loads of networking events that they hosted, and you tend to get to meet other marketing professionals, and sometimes they need other people to help them out. Other recruitment agencies I've used in the past, because initially they are one of the best places to go to, because they've already got the connections with the larger employers. And also, I think University of Liverpool do lots of career fairs where lots of big companies come in, and there's your chance to actually meet and showcase your talents to those employers. Don't wait for your lucky break, because I never did. And I would say, if you think that the jobs will come to you, you'll be very much disappointed. So I would say, even now, while you're studying, start doing some homework, do some research, do some practice interviews, see what sort of skills these jobs want in their job descriptions, because then you start to realize these are the skills I need to upskill. First impression is everything, especially within marketing. So try and create a killer cover letter. And also, it's the story I've said before: in a competitive crowd, why should we pick you? Remember, now try and market yourself, because you are now the product. And also map your journey. Where do you see yourself in another 5 years' time? Always challenge yourself. Don't go for the comfort zone saying, oh, I've got a nice office admin job and I'll stay there for 10 years, because those 10 years will go so quick, and then you realize, oh my God, what have I been doing? I should have done this, I should have done that. Don't live your life with regrets. Try and take a skills gap audit. I've put a link, a URL link at the bottom: targetinternet.com/benchmark, which was developed by the Chartered Institute of Marketing. It basically allows you to give like a choice of multiple choice questions, but say what you're good at and what you're not good at. And at the end, it will give you a sort of a map to say, here are the areas that you really need to improve. Obviously, CIM will recommend some of their courses, but I'm sure University of Liverpool run their own sort of skills sort of courses. What does marketing look like in 2018? I've noticed with social media, it's constantly changing. A lot has happened. And especially with old fogies like myself, there are lots of things like Instagram marketing and things like that that I haven't got the time to update my skills. So it's not for me to keep up with pace. But again, that means there's a gap in the market where you guys can come in, because you guys will already have an advantage over people like myself, because you guys will probably already use Instagram, Snapchat, and a few other items. Marketing is dynamic. Environment is constantly changing. With the Brexit issue, you know, you can see a lot more companies going, okay, if the European market dries up, do we have to expand and look into international territories? So obviously, having the international marketing sort of skills, learning about cultures, how to adapt and things like that, that could be really good for you. Marketing, is it a cliche? Yes. Expendable? No, because people still realize that people want information. They want the best information out there to better themselves and make them feel better. And marketing is a way to send out that information. Another new trend in 2018, collaboration. What's happening is a lot of agencies and a lot of companies have realized they can't do everything themselves. It used to be in the past where they had large marketing departments, especially bigger companies, but even bigger companies are realizing that budgets are tight, and sometimes it's more cost effective to bring a certain experts from outside to work alongside their own marketing people. So for you, I would also say try and collaborate with other students, because everyone's got different skill sets and everyone might be different in terms of, you might be good at something and someone else might be better at other things. And if you combine them together, you tend to be even better. Content is an ongoing challenge because there's so much information out there. It's getting harder and harder to create new stuff that people get attracted to. So the youngsters, because they are more online, they tend to have the finger on the pulse of what is trendy and what is not. So you guys should be able to come into a marketing company and say, this is what's out there, this is what the new generation want, and this is how we can deliver the message across. And those are the ting sort of light bulb moments that companies get when they see new people coming through the door and saying, we want to work for you. Unfortunately, people like myself, we lack certain technical and analytical skills. So for example, if Laura just says, can you run an Instagram campaign for me? I'll be panicking because I usually outsource these kind of things. But again, here are the areas where you already have an advantage over myself. Apologies.
Oh,
thank you. User journeys are changing. Back in the day, when I started my career in marketing, one of the roles I had to do was every couple of hours used to go to the fax machine and get hundreds and hundreds of copies of fax sort of spam, ranging from leather shoes to company security and things like that. Thankfully, them days are long gone, but there still is a lot of over-reliance on email marketing where I'm sure yourselves, when you sign up to things, you get bombarded daily by adverts and promotions. But what tends to happen is, especially with the new generation, Generation Z, they tend to block it. It's like wallpaper. They just unsubscribe, but they just put it on a spam filter where it doesn't even appear on their inbox. So we, as companies are starting to realize, and less people are replying to email marketing, they are now looking for innovative new ways, and social media marketing is the new big thing. Other things, SEO is still a mystery. A lot of people, if you speak to senior directors, they don't know. The only thing they'll go is, oh, as long as I go on Google and type in my company name, will that go top? On the whole, if you have got the URL related to those specific words, you are more likely to be on top. But there are other key issues like your product and services and benefits that people don't really realize, and this is your way of selling those skill sets to SMEs in particular, because they still don't know, and they think the sort of digital thing is a black hole, that it's a complete foreign language to them. So you can impress them to say, I know this language. Key marketing trends for 2018. Everyone says a story, is the most important thing in marketing. I would say it is, because people like to listen. They watch movies, something to keep them entertained. Because if I start giving you reams full of product information guides and health and safety materials, you're just probably going to skip through them or bin them. So the story is important, because people remember stories. Even when you're younger, the stories that your parents might have told you or your friends or family, they are still there in your mind somewhere. So make sure, if you are creating a story or a brand, it is something that people can get hooked on. Laura mentioned before, like Alexa and Siri. Although it's still a development in progress, I would not be surprised that this will definitely be the big thing in the next year or two, because especially with Generation Z, they are very lazy. They have not got the time to type something up or anything else. As the technology improves, more and more people will realize the advantages of voice-enabled devices, that you can ask for anything. So for example, like this program, Marketing Skills 2018, imagine if you had the opportunity to say to Siri, can I listen to a webinar, Marketing Skills 2018, hopefully through Google SEO, that would be right up there at the front, and this presentation you could listen in through a pod. Also think about artificial intelligence. It's a scary thing. A lot of SEO nowadays, and it's also like campaigns on Facebook and things like that, they are done through algorithms. Even, some might allege that Donald Trump became president because of artificial intelligence from certain parts of Russia. The thing what what I would say is artificial intelligence is one thing, but human ingenuity is a complete matter that you still have an advantage over. You might find something and ask questions that the computers might not able to predict. So I would say still it's a relationship basis. It's not that artificial intelligence will replace you as such, because on the other hand, artificial intelligence devices, they still need maintenance and programming and things like that. So you still have an area, an industry that you can go into and have a very lucrative career. Privacy protection is a major concern. Well, I know I had to hire a legal firm to come in to look into my GDPR. So our emails, I had to ensure that the CRM system that we were using, it was protected so no one else could see it. And if I allowed other staff members to log into that CRM, they had to provide a justifiable reason why they needed to access that information. And also, you had to let the people know you had their personal details and explain them why you've got them and what you will do with that. The thing that's really exciting for me for 2018 is more and more live videos, adverts and campaigns. They tend to be more receptive when people are asked about, do you remember this campaign? Because I'm sure you know yourself, when you're out and about in the underground train station or walking across the city centre, the billboards of the past, they used to be static. Now you will see them become more interactive, more lively, more people directly trying to communicate and get your attention, because people like that human touch and people like the story. And micro influencer remains. If you look, there are certain people who don't aspire to be Kim Kardashian, but she has a certain skill set where she has become the brand itself. And there are some people who like that brand, the aspects, the values. They want to be like Kim Kardashian. But because that's the case, a lot of brands that would like to be associated with that, they realize these type of celebrities, they are essential for other people to copy and mimic. So try and find out for yourself, is there anything you can do to create a brand for yourself? And you never know, if there is good quality content out there and you've got something about you, you will start to automatically realize that people will start following you. I've got a friend, Julia, who's on Instagram. She does lots of fashion, you know, lots of fashion brands, yeah. They send her free samples, you know, like makeup stuff and also clothes like dresses and things like that. She just wears them, posts them from her bedroom, and she gets around like 6,000, 12,000 likes. And I'm like, how is this even possible? Whereas with when I do a blog or something about like social media marketing or something, I'll probably have like 4 views and no one else. So there is a case for you to investigate why influencer marketing works and how you can create your own influence in the marketplace. The scary thing for me is Generation Z. They are a different breed to all the other breeds before them. They are a breed that have grown up to Google search. They want instant gratification. Whatever information they want it now, and it has to be relevant. So they are a very tough crowd to please. So when you create marketing campaign material, and if you are thinking about targeting the Generation Z type, you've only got less than 20 seconds to attract their attention and convince them why you're the brand to be. So it's a different skill set altogether. It's trying to get your message in a succinct one-line campaign, and also brutal honesty. people now can read through the waffle, that they know when someone's trying to sell them stuff. So what you are also going to notice is a lot of brands, and especially marketing agencies themselves, they will talk about education. They're there to help consumer, give them more information. Companies might say environmental impacts, you know, how they are reducing things like less plastic, etc., etc. And also sometimes, if you are honest with yourself in terms of what you're good at and what you're not, what what things you're not good at, people are more endeared to you because they like that honesty, because they will focus in more on your things you're good at. Because the thing is, you only get one chance in this career. If you over promise and under deliver, you start to realize that your marketing career comes to a very quick end. What are your career options? Marketing is huge. It applies to pretty much every industry. For example, fast-moving consumer goods, so perishables like chocolates, water that I'm drinking from a plastic, travel and tourism, charities, manufacturing that creates sort of medical devices, instrument, construction work, professional services, you name it. Most companies out there need a marketing department or a marketing person to sell their story, to sell their message, why they are the company you need to go to. And marketing in itself is huge. Unfortunately, I've only got an hour or so to go through them all, but you've got areas like advertising, PR, direct marketing, which is like door-to-door sort of letters. Product management is an area that is building new things for consumers. So an example would be about a decade ago, I went to a sort of technology fair in Taiwan, where lots of smaller manufacturers say is these sort of devices that you want to push in your marketplace. And this was before the Apple iWatch. There were companies already developing Android watches, and unfortunately, when I took a sample back to the directors at Zoostorm PCs, I said, this is amazing. This is something that the customers would love. The directors went, no, the cost, the pricing, it just doesn't work out. We're not willing to take the risk. But imagine if they did, if they were the first company out there to have a computer on your watch, just how big it would be. And unfortunately, it was Apple who launched, and the rest is history. So product management, marketing would be to satisfy the customer needs and wants. So you go out there, do your research and find out there what's the next best thing that can come out. So that is an area that you might not necessarily be pushed or a subject matter that's going to be taught at university level. But once you go in the real world, you realize marketing is more than just creating brochures and leaflets and advertising. Again, other areas that are big is market research. It's self-explanatory. Events. Events is again another big one because it's probably one of the most successful marketing tools out there that people don't realize, because it's your chance to actually meet your customers, and people like to buy from other people they like. Even, for example, Laura, she might not have given me the opportunity if we didn't have the opportunity to meet initially in the first place, where she probably done a background check on me to say, is this person real? You know, does he know what he's talking about and things like that. But again, because of that opportunity, she realized, you know what, he's got something about him. I'll give him an opportunity and I'll give him a slot to do one of the marketing webinars. And the big thing, I would say, the area where you can excel at is digital marketing, because I would say it's only been 10 years since it, and now, especially with social media coming into play, it's a whole new ball game that a lot of older marketing professionals like myself don't know much about, because I'll hold my hand up, I haven't got Snapchat and I wouldn't even know how to do Snapchat.
I've not got Snapchat either, don't worry, I've not got it.
Okay.
I don't have Instagram, I don't have Snapchat, I'm still a Facebook user, I'll put my hands up.
Okay, I don't feel that ashamed now. But again, what I'm trying to say from this slide is, don't just apply for any old job. If you're especially thinking about doing a marketing job, I would say try and get experience, internship, and try those different branches of marketing and see what area you're really good at and excel at. Okay, what do potential employers want? As you will know, a lot of people probably have studied marketing. They will go to an interview and they will say a lot of things about marketing. It's like raising awareness, thinking about interest, how to stimulate the desire of the consumer, and how to get the customer to part with their money with the brand. That's all well and good, but if out of 10 interviews, 10 people say the same line over and over to me, I'll be like, okay, what do I do now? So for you to stand out is not just qualifications, experience, the aptitude. The thing that most employers look for is ambition, drive, and passion. Why you are doing it, why should I employ you, and what have you got that others haven't? And those can only be said if you are honest about yourself. Because if you start talking about yourself and why you want to do it and why you want to make a difference, you want to change, you want to challenge, those are the things that excites employers. Those are the things that people will say, I want someone to come into the office that will excite the whole department. It will bring something new to the table. So it's all about you. It's all about the personality. And if you really start looking and thinking about yourself, you start to realize you can do a personal business plan of your own, and you can also set yourself goals and targets where you want to be in the next 2 years, where you want to be in the next 5 years, and also take steps in how to go about getting those goals. Key marketing skills which are needed is communication skills. It's how you're going to get the message across. So I would say, language skills, the English language skills like punctuation and things like that, they're very important. Even though these days, the spell checkers and everything else, you will not believe the amount of mistakes that I have still spotted in draft proposals and plans, etc., etc. Planning and organization skills is key because you will be inundated with workload. I'm sure Laura can attest to the amount of emails she receives every day. And sometimes you feel like, oh my God, there's so much to do. But once you realize, once you list everything and you try and prioritize everything, life becomes so much more easier. And once you are in an easier life, you tend to work better and you will create better things. Other skills that are definitely needed, that's why I've highlighted them in red: technical and digital, because those are already the skill set that most companies are not aware of and they don't know much about. And sometimes they go to external agencies and they pay a fortune. I know a client who spends nearly 5 to 6 grand a month just to look after their website and social media, and I'm going, that's insane. But on the other hand, it's something that I don't want to do because I've got better things to do. But again, the marketplace is out there, because if you can see a company and you go, oh my God, this website's awful, there is no harm for you to approach that company and say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about redoing a website under a WordPress template? There are so many things that you can go and it will immediately impress a potential employer. Analytical thinking, again, this is a area which you hopefully through university you will improve at. You will realize that research is big. It's always better to look at a certain thing from different angles, from different viewpoints, because the best thing is to get as much information on a certain topic that will give you the opportunity to create the best message or the best product. And to do that, you need to do, qualitative, but also quantitative, not just do a survey online and say, let me know what you thought, give me some feedback on the product, but actually have a focus group meeting, let them trial and test and see what they actually think about your products and services. So the research skills that you will learn in university, you'll start to realize in the business world they also apply. A lot of research goes into companies. I remember doing eye tracking software for the Echo, which is a local newspaper in Liverpool, because what tended to happen was, well, in 2007 and 2008, that was a watershed moment. It was the first time when website articles were read more than actual newspaper articles themselves. So Echo realized that they needed to transform themselves from a print-based company to a digital company. And one of the things we used to do was bringing loads of random newspaper readers from the Liverpool region to our head office. And in a small, tiny computer room like ourselves, we used to do eye tracking software where they looked at the website and we tried to follow and find the logic why they used to view certain things like that. And that's how they developed the current Echo website. So research, I would say, is still a major area place for you guys to think about career. Again, marketing is all about creativity, design, and the stereotype still applies to this day. If you go to companies, they think, if he is in marketing, he'll design nice leaflets and flyers and brochures for us. And the thing that most people don't really take much control over is stress management. I'm going to be a bit controversial here, and I would say while you're still at university, you're pretty much still spoon-fed by your lecturers in terms of how to manage your time, when you have to hand in certain work, etc., etc. Once you're in the real world, I'm afraid you will be bombarded by many different people at different times of the day, and you have to try and manage how you're going to complete all those tasks. And it's one of those that it's hard to teach. It's probably a skill set that you learn through experience and from learning from other people who are in a similar situation, who might be able to give you help and advice in terms of, some people might say every morning come in and make a to-do list, what you need to finish before you leave the end of the day. And other people might get, do a more complicated Gantt charts for project planning and that. Try and find out what works for you and then stick to that. And I tell you what, that will make your life so much easier. Now, here are the gaps and challenges. The orange box on the right are the skill gaps that were mostly identified by the CIM when they've done the benchmarking reporting. Obviously, tactical and strategic skills basically means thinking about doing something, and tactical would mean actually doing the stuff. But the big two that I would say that would really make you stand out is the technological skills in terms of knowing what's out there, social media channels, what type of people go into social media, and actually having a portfolio of your own sort of promotions in terms of, you might do music blogs or fashion blogs, whatever, to showcase that you already know how to use that channel. But again, soft skills is really important in terms of communication skills, how you send an email, what do you write, and also body behavior in terms of how do you present yourself professionally, but also relaxed. What I mean by is the old school professionalism, like three-piece suit, bowler hats, and working in banking and finance. Great, but those do not now apply to marketing anymore. It's more of a hipster type environment where you are the brand. What do you bring to the table, and how do you express those things? So it's the soft sort of human skills that most companies need. And on your left hand side, I've put a T-shaped diagram. That's the challenge. What I mean by that, the challenge is not that we all want you to become a Mr. T type character from the A-Team where he managed to do everything. But basically, it does mean that you have to be a master of everything, because in the past it used to be jack of all trades but master of none. But now you have to be a master of all trades and jack of none. So what I've done is, an example would be, in the past, people used to say, I'm good at content and I'm going to be an expert on content, or I'm good at PR and I'm going to be an expert on PR. But now what employers want, they have become very greedy. They want you to become an expert of everything. So it's a case of you going through each and individual sort of segment of marketing and learn as much as possible, that you are confident enough to say, yeah, I know a bit about it, but be honest enough to say to your employer, yes, I can write you that press release, but if you want to have a more impact, I can put the press release out there in certain social media marketplaces, but let's bring in someone, a PR agency or someone else who may be good at writing an article to write the article piece. So it's a case of you knowing your own matrix of talent. So you might know, I'm a people person, or I'm a creative person, or I'm a research, I'm into analytics. Because once you know your own strengths and weaknesses, you can be open and honest and tell your employer, here are my real strengths, and for certain weaknesses, let's bring someone else in. Because then the employer will have more respect for you, knowing that you haven't promised them you'll do something, but at the end it hasn't achieved what he wanted to achieve. Okay, what role is right for you? Going back, moving on from the last slide, I was again trying to say, what type of person are you? If you are a person that likes to create things, who likes to think outside the box, the career roles that might be suitable to you is web design, creative design, so graphics, designing logos and brands, coming up with new content, and obviously pasting items on social media. But we're not all the same. Some people like to do stuff, they don't like to think. But on the other hand, they like to see the bigger picture, they like to make money, they like to see and meet new people. So for them type of people, the roles that you could look into is client services, project management, account management. New business is basically sales, because people don't like the word sales. Whenever they hear the word sales, they go, oh, that's not the job for me. But believe it or not, if you want to make real money, sales is where you actually could have a really, really good lifestyle if you're really good at it. And again, marketing is one of those people skills that I talked about, psychology. And finally, the other type of person you could be is a planning type person who likes to spot trends, who likes to look at data, who might not enjoy being around other people, who would like to get on with their own thing in a small room on their own. They like that peace of quiet, and they might be into data analytics, media planning. They look at the stats, they look at the spreadsheet, because that's what they're good at. They might be a mathematical genius for who I am now. So, each to their own, everyone's different. So don't feel pressurized that, oh, I'm not creative enough, so marketing might not be for me. Marketing is big. It's not just the skills that is important, it's also the qualities that makes a good marketing person. And one of those qualities is know your audience. If you want to tell a story, find out who your audience is, focusing on it. Because, for example, if Laura's into her, say, romantic stories, it would be inappropriate for me to come in and tell her a horror story, because she might be like, no, I don't want to listen to horror stories. So find out what attracts them. Be patient. So sometimes certain campaigns don't work, but after a while, people might go, you know what, I might go for it. So if Laura didn't know me, and if I sent her an email saying I'm from CIM and I would like to do a webinar, because it's already very closely aligned to her roles and responsibilities, she might reply back. But if she wasn't, and if I said, can I come and do a marketing sort of stall to sell BMIG, she'd be like,
no way.
No. But I might keep on persevering, and I might say, you know what, let me have this marketing stall to showcase BMIG, but then I'll do a freebie and do a webinar, and she might go, oh, I'll go on then, might as well. So it's a campaign. Get people excited about them, give them the bigger picture. The bigger picture in this example would be, you give me this opportunity, and in return, I'll do something for you. You know, try and think about give and take. Be adaptable as well. Certain plans fail. You know, they always say if you don't plan, you plan to fail. But with business, there's so much uncertainty. Things change overnight. You might have something in place, and the next morning someone else phones up and say, no, you need to be here. An example would be 14th of November. That was my original plan, but a few days before the 14th, one of my customers in London said, no, you need to be here. It's very important. And unfortunately, I had to sacrifice this, but hopefully she'll forgive me. Also, I'm going to be contradicting myself here. Also, make sure you look beyond digital. Try and utilize as many channels as possible, because a lot of people don't go on social media. A lot of older people stick to traditional newspaper advertising. So think about the marketplace. If you want to attract as many people as possible to your brand or services, then think about different channels. Don't just rely on digital and saying social media is the next best craze. Yes, that's correct, but like Laura and myself have said, we have not got Snapchat. So if you've done a Snapchat campaign and you wanted to sell some sort of marketing careers tool, you're missing your target audience there. So keep a think of that. And also enthusiasm, have passion. Some people might say crazy, but if you take risks, it's that enthusiasm, it's contagious. People like positive, happy people. And the thing with me is, don't be afraid to ask questions. Marketing is about satisfying your curiosity. It's trying to look for new trends, look what makes customers tick, and hopefully I've given you a flavor of what is required to be successful in marketing. But now I also would like to say why marketing is suitable for you. I'm also trying to sell why a marketing is good for you. You might say, my skills are too good for marketing. I've got better things to do. I could go into banking and earn lots of dough, or might go into HR because I'll spend more time with people. But the thing I would say with marketing, it can offer you international travel. A lot of companies nowadays, a lot of production has moved to the Far East. A lot of clients have moved to the Middle East because that's where the money is. And so you need to flow where the money goes. And I've been very fortunate enough to have been in like sort of technology and pharmaceutical companies, which gave me opportunities to go to likes of Taiwan, Vietnam, China, Hong Kong, Doha, in Qatar, you know, Dubai, you name it. I've been fortunate enough to be there. And if I can do it and the experience as I have had, I would say you will go, wow, this is what I want, because you can see these sort of holiday vlogs and marketing vlogs.
Oh, bless you.
Sorry, I can only apologize. Must be the carpets. Also, think about the product life cycle, because when I said think about your CV and your cover letter, you are the product. Where are you at your product life cycle? Unfortunately, I'm nearing to the end of my product life cycle because I've been in marketing for nearly 2 decades, well over 2 decades. But for you, you're probably at the beginning of the journey. So you can really think about what makes you happy. You still got the chance to extend your life, to go really upward on an upward trajectory. You can say, I'm going to take these skills courses to really improve myself, because you already have in your mind what type of company you want to work for, where you want to be, what city you want to live in, those sort of questions, try and see where you want to end up, because without a goal in mind, you might realize that you'll end up in a job like McDonald's because you are desperate for money and you haven't had the career that you wanted. And no one's to blame apart from yourself. The opportunity is not going to come to you. You need to go and find them. So to do that, you need to network, study hard, apply, and get as much experience as possible. The thing with experience is, if you want to get that benefit of having the experience, sometimes with smaller marketing agencies in Liverpool or Manchester, wherever you may be, they might say, oh, I've already got a full staff. I don't need new staff. But if you are, say, you're there to learn and you're there to volunteer, and a lot of employers will suddenly go, you know what, for a week or two, I don't mind you coming over because it's an extra pair of hands. And what it allows, because you're a volunteer, they can't force you to do things that you do not want to do because you're a volunteer. And also, it's an amazing chance for you to actually taste what it's like to be in that environment. You can speak to other professionals who are already working in the environment and ask them, are you really happy? Why do you wake up? Why are you still here? And questions like that, that will give you a bigger flavor in terms of, you know what, this is where I want to belong. And the biggest advice I could say to you is, life is short, so do something that you really enjoy. Because the last thing you want to do is like become like me, bitter and twisted, and go, it hasn't worked out for me, but I'm going to make sure it's the kids, the new generation, they're not going to follow in my footsteps and do the same mistake. So try and maximize your experiences and things as possible, because the last thing you want to do is suddenly wake up and you realize you're 50 odd and you haven't got the energy that you had when you have the energy now. And you are not on your own. Laura is here, CIM representative like myself are here. If you want more information and guidance, we're always here to help you if you're not sure on something, and if there are advice, because I don't know if I mentioned it, marketing really is worth it. You know, the choice of media is becoming big. Demand for skilled creative marketings will continue. The thing I didn't know, nearly 2.5 million people in the UK work in the creative stroke digital industries, and it's the fastest growing sector in the UK. And also it's full of talented marketing people. You know, there is a lot of glitz and glamour if you're into that. There's a lot of award ceremonies you can put your campaigns into and try and win. So it's an industry where you can work hard, but you can play even harder. How would you know that marketing is ready for you? Again, advertise nowadays. I mean, jobs aren't advertised as they used to be traditionally in newspapers or internet. It's much more who you know than what you know, in terms of approaching them with solutions, to say, I've spotted something and this is something that I could do. So try and be creative, be a problem solver, because that's the thing that companies want. You're spoiled for choice, because I haven't had the time to go through them, but the areas of research, digital, design, PR, try and find your niche, because each particular area requires a different skill set and different sort of personality behavior. And the more research you do, the more you look into the industries, the more people you meet while you go out internship, you will start to spot the gaps of, hold on a minute, I could fit in here, I could do this type of role. And again, practice makes perfect. You know, the more opportunities and more experiences, the more courses you do, the more webinars you listen to, you start to become more confident in your own abilities, because you start to realize they are not so much different to myself. And you start to realize there are certain skill sets you've already learned at university that you can utilize and use in the workplace to deliver. And the final thing is, people like people. Because if you try and help other people out, you will be surprised the other people will suddenly turn back and help you when you need help. I remember 2008, when the financial crash happened, I was made redundant. I felt the whole world just crumbled. I had like mortgage and everything. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to pay that? But thankfully, because I helped other people in my career, I sent them saying I need a bit of help. They just said, oh, don't worry about it. I joined, what was it? The Institute of Training and Occupational Learning. They're a professional body for L&D professional. I knew Harry, and he said, you've done a good job for me. So why don't you join me for a year or two project? And I'm like, thank you very much. So that shows that if you do something really good and you help other people, those people will not forget the times that you've helped them, and they will return the favor. So always be on the lookout to help others. Will you succeed? Hopefully, I would say yes if you want to, because end of the day, the success depends 100% on you. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Contact the careers team, contact Liverpool University through Laura. Make a difference. Think of new ways of doing things, and the only way you can do that is through internships and work experiences. Don't stand still. If you think, yeah, I've graduated, yeah, I know marketing. No, that doesn't work like that, because there's another 10,000 marketing graduates out there in the world. Well, 100,000, I would say. I'm just thinking of the UK marketplace here. So you need to constantly develop, improve, and also times don't stand still. Technology is changing. Google Analytics. So make sure you're always there. The thing I wanted to say that is probably the most successful thing for you in marketing would be to find a mentor, someone who can inspire you and help you grow, because they've already been there, seen that, and done that in that industry. They can already tell you the mistakes they made, so you don't have to make those mistakes. But more importantly, the thing with mentors is they guide you in terms of where you are, what you're good at. They can help and identify what would be more suited to you. And also, it's something for you to go, you know what, this mentor is not much more different than me. To start to realize, you know what, if this person can do it, so can I. Again, you could join the Chartered Institute of Marketing for networking and qualifications. You could stay at University of Liverpool, do a postgrad. I'm sure there are many master's program in marketing, yes. And again, they also run lots of skills workshops that you can do that can enhance your work experience. The thing I would say is network, and more network. There's our networking events advertised on Eventbrite, CIM, and LinkedIn. And I'm sure University of Liverpool do their own sort of networking events, because it's a good way of practicing. It's getting you out there in the marketplace. And it's actually the icebreaker. It's actually for you to learn how to speak to strangers. That's the biggest thing. Don't be scared to approach people and say hello. And finally, I would say work hard, study harder, but don't forget to party, because it's all about the balance between working hard and playing harder. And I think, oh, sorry, well, one more thing, sorry, before I go. We originally wanted to do 2 webinars. One was to obviously go through what skills are required for marketing success. The other one was to look at a career canvas, is to actually create your marketing plan in terms of where I am, where I need to be, and how to go there, and how am I going to put all those information on a CV. One of the really good templates I found was the link, which is done by Marco. Basically, he tried to use the business model canvas, and the questions are really straightforward. It is basically, what value do you provide? It could be, how can you help this employer? What sort of skills are you good at? There's the stuff that I mentioned before. You could say, I know social media marketing. I know how to attract people. This is how I've built so many followers. key activities. What do you do? You know, here's your portfolio. Here's the logo designs I've created. Relationships, how do you interact? Are you personable? Are you likable person? You know, have you worked in teams? Use those experience sets that and examples that you can use on your CV. What you give costs in terms of, if you hire me, what do I bring to the table? What sort of money can I bring to the organization? What sort of customers? What sort of information? So this sort of canvas allows you to plan in terms of a SWOT analysis, in a way, in terms of what your strengths, what your weaknesses, where you want to be. And to fill that information, the things I would say is go and speak to your family and friends, go and see where they are, what, find out, investigate what support systems are out there. Try and see what sort of activities you like doing. Do you like to be on the field? Do you like to be outside? Do you like to meet and greet people, or do you want to be stuck in an office on your own in your own room? But on the other hand, this is your homework. Go and find out more about yourself. What makes you happy? Why you're doing the current courses you're doing at University of Liverpool in the first place? Is it making you happy, or you wish you'd done something else? Or because you guys are still in a position where you can make a change that can make a massive difference to your life. Whereas sometimes if you get older, you've got responsibilities, you've got bills, you can't afford to take those risks. So I would say you now have a blank canvas to write your own story and make sure it's a very good marketing story. And I think that's a nice way to end it. So if you've got any questions.
Fantastic, thank you, Naheem. So I think we've had one question coming towards the end there. We do have a little bit more time, so if anyone does have any questions in the next few minutes, please feel free. So Anne says, do you need to get a degree in marketing to get into the field? I have a bachelor's degree that's marketing related, but my master's is within another creative field. What tips you have for identifying a possible mentor? Okay, so addressing the first question regarding degrees, on whether you need a totally marketing focused degree or whether actually you can do marketing in different areas.
Good question. I would say it's good to have a degree in an area that's outside of marketing, because it means you've got certain knowledge that's outside the box. For example, if you've done a psychology degree, they are still very valued in a lot of creative agencies in London, because they like to go into the mind of the customer in terms of what makes them tick. You know, even certain things like color. You know, there are specialists who specialize in the psychology of color. You know, why certain brands or logos need to be in this certain particular color. Other areas I would say is mathematical skills. If you've got a maths degree, you are like a gold standard. You will get a career in any industry you want, because, for example, if you are a web developer, if you look at the back end, which is coding and things like that, it requires a hell of a lot of marketing with, mathematical sort of equations that I'm like, I look at it and it makes no sense to me. And also English language degree. If you've got an English language degree, that means you are very good at writing, getting the message across that you want to communicate. And those means that you can have a very successful career in PR or journalism, which is also related to marketing. So I would say no. Marketing degree, I would say, gives you the benefit in terms of knowing the industry and gives you the tools to succeed in marketing. But also you can learn marketing now on other places like Coursera or even University of Liverpool. They do short sort of master classes. There are other places where you can learn marketing, but I would say you are never too old to learn. I would say learn as many things as possible, because one of my slides, I said the most important thing is not the theory, it's the aptitude, you know, your passion, your drive, and your interest in that company. If you can showcase those, you are more likely to succeed in marketing.
I suppose with technology changing as well, so for example, like voice search marketing, which you mentioned earlier, which did not exist a couple of years ago, and these are areas, you know, that people who have degrees in marketing will still need to keep on top of. So, for example, being a member of the CIM, and even if you're not, you know, reading through any marketing journals and factual news and staying ahead of what is happening, particularly in technology sector, which is technology is a slightly funny thing where it's not a sector in itself, but it impacts across all sectors. So what the technology is used to, and as I say, you know, a bachelor's degree in something that's marketing related. We have lots of students who study business management here at the University of Liverpool, also economics, business economics, who go and work in marketing. So part of my job in the alumni engagement team is to find out what our graduates are doing with their degrees after they graduate from us. But, you know, marketing, people who study English and history, psychology as well have relevant insights and skills that can be applied. In terms of tips for possible mentor, just to tag on to that question as well, on Liverpool Connect, where we will upload the recording as well as emailing out to all participants today, you can actually register for Liverpool Connect for free as a student or a graduate. And it's an exclusive platform where you can network with other students and other graduates, either from your programme or from other programmes. And we've had some very successful connections being made on there, particularly for students and graduates who are looking for work experience, just looking to see what other people have done with their degree. And you can contact graduates through that system, message them, ask them questions, and maybe even build a mentoring relationship through the system where you can get a little bit more advice and sort of informal support, really, from someone who's in a position that you might aspire to be in yourself or are just interested in. But I suppose, you know, other tips for identifying possible mentor, Naheem?
Other tips, I would say, if you're a member of the Chartered Institute of Marketing, you get access to speak to chartered marketeers within your region, and there is a mentorship program where you can ask to be mentored, or you would become a mentor and looking for mentees. Other things you can do is, nothing is stopping you to go on LinkedIn. Nothing is stopping you to find out if there's a particular industry expert that you really aspire to follow in their footsteps. Nothing is stopping you to send them a sort of email or a message on LinkedIn to say, I am a fan. I really would like to learn how you became this person, what journey you took, and I would like to learn from you. And you will be surprised, a lot of those industry people, a lot of big titans, I would say, who would not mind to give half an hour or an hour of their busy schedule just to give some words of wisdom or advice in terms of what they've done, because people like to help other people, and especially if it's about talking about themselves. You will realize a lot of people in marketing, they're very vain. They do not mind talking about themselves for a long time. So I would say, first, do and try and write to name what you want to get out of your mentoring session. What sort of person you want the mentor to be. Someone senior, or someone could be who just started their marketing career, who've just, you know, graduated a year or two ago. Because the difficulty sometimes I found when I had mentees is it's in a different level, where someone have just gone into university, and if they wanted to set up their own agency or something like that, that I could advise. But if it's something like they need help with their studies and they didn't, for me, it would be like, oh my God, it's going back so long now. I'm probably not the best person to be the mentor. So try and find your objectives, what you want out of this mentorship, and then identify the type of person you want a mentor to become, and then develop a strategy how to approach those mentors. Because like Laura said before, Liverpool Alumni has a massive list of a lot of people who've now probably got successful careers behind their belt as well, that they are more than happy to help you push on to the next level of your career.
And often, you know, if you do go into the workplace or an internship, you might be able to have informal mentoring. It might not feel mentoring, but it might be support from other colleagues within the workplace. So it could be interns who have now got graduate jobs at that company. If you're on a graduate scheme, it might be sort of permanent employees who are a couple of years ahead of you. Often schemes do offer kind of peer-to-peer workplace mentoring. University of Liverpool does do that for its staff. Little plug there. But lots of workplaces, you know, even if they don't formally promote it, you know, see if you can maybe get work shadowing from people, and that might develop into a mentoring relationship inside or outside of current companies you might be working in. It can be a great opportunity to learn some skills and different ways of thinking. You know, you are relying on other people's time, which can be tricky. But if you don't ask, you don't get. And approaching people, particularly on LinkedIn, can feel a bit daunting when you don't know them. In fact, we actually did a webinar yesterday on digital networking, building your brand. So if you're interested, I can send you the link to that recording as well, on how you can actually message people, follow their content, and send them a really personalised message, referencing something they've done recently, and really show your interest. Sometimes it can just be useful to just see what other people are doing and how they've got there, what kind of experiences they've had. Sometimes it might not be positive experiences they've had either. People who often go and do things and it's really hard work and it's a nightmare and they fail a couple of times at doing something, there's a learning experience there. So it's not just always about the positives, it can be about some of the negative experiences people have if they're willing to share them with you. So I hope that's provided some tips and starting points. But you know, even if it doesn't feel like a formal mentor, it might end up being a kind of informal mentoring relationship, having, you know, occasional phone calls and catch-ups with people, or just one-off conversations on the phone. Like I said, people like to talk about themselves. So have a bit of research and see what you think you might need and where you might be able to find it. Are there any other questions that anyone has, any burning questions? If you're thinking of something, you're not quite sure yet, or you're watching this recording back at any point, do get in contact with us and we can try and either direct you to the right resources or answer your question. It might just be that you need a little bit of time to digest everything from today. I don't think we've had any other questions come through, so I think we'll leave it there for today. So thank you everyone, I hope that's been useful. Do take time to do that homework exercise. It would be really useful, you know, print off a copy of your CV at the same time and have it next to you. And yeah, do a bit of a SWOT analysis on yourself. It can be very useful. Plus, SWOT analysis is very good saying into you that you've actually done it on yourself, you know what you're talking about. Fantastic. So thanks everyone. Thank you for Naheem coming in.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
If you are interested in a bit more about the Chartered Institute of Marketing, for those students who are on our BA marketing programme, your course actually allows you to get some exemptions for CIM qualifications. If you want more information about that, contact your Director of Studies and they will be able to provide more information. But definitely have a look on their website and just see a little bit more about this professional body that is responsible for marketing the UK. Have a look at their news, have a look at their social media and see what marketing professionals who are members are doing. And if this is something you're really interested in, or if you're maybe changing from a different degree subject or a different kind of job role, it's a really good place to get some more information and possibly meet some of the like-minded individuals. So if you have any questions as well, obviously Naheem is a member of the CIM, and I imagine he'll be able to talk to you more a little bit about that if you need to, and how you can get involved. They do networking events. Occasionally they do have them up in Liverpool and Manchester. They're all listed on their website. I don't think you have to be a member to go. I think there's a small fee attached, but it might be worth looking into. And Eventbrite for other free events wherever you are in the world. You know, go along.
Eventbrite's very good. A lot of free marketing events are held. I think last week HubSpot had an event in Liverpool, so that was a free event and it was very well attended by a lot of marketing agencies. So those are the type of events that if you want to speak to other marketing professionals, the place to be.
get suited and booted. There's a lot of resources on Career Hub around going to networking events. You can always pop into the career studio and speak to the career coaches and get some information about how to go to networking events and what you need to do to prepare in advance. You need to do your research, find out who's there, who you want to speak to, how to make a good impression, and how to do follow-ups and contact people on LinkedIn and follow up with other calls. So do make the most of the resources. Even if you're just having a little toe in the water and seeing what it's all about. It can be a great confidence boost as well, and get you to articulate your skills in person to somebody before you go to a job interview where you've got to do it for real. So fantastic, thank you everyone for today. I hope this has been useful, and we'll send you the recording in the next couple of working days for you to look through at your leisure. Have a good afternoon, everybody. Thanks ever so much. See you later.